English with deck. So these past couple of weeks really have been pretty up in the air. I say couple of weeks actually, not at all. It's the past week. Wait, what day are we on? We're on Tuesday. So Tuesday to Tuesday. Yeah, the past week. Wow, it feels like so long. You know, when your I've talked about this so much, but it's an important thing. When your routine breaks, when your routine changes, things just go out of whack. Scheduling, time management. Wow, I feel like the past couple of weeks have been pretty crazy, but they haven't really. It's been the past week. Yeah. So the last Wait, let me forget this right. What day? Tuesday? Yeah. Wow. Okay, yes, the last week. The last week has been a pretty crazy one in the sense of it's been up in the air, you know, a lot of uncertainties thrown around, and a lot of curveballs. Now, all of these are pretty mediocre in the sense of nothing life altering, nothing absolutely detrimental to ourselves. However, it's in my personal world, these are bigger things, and that's normal. That's fair. I hope. But yeah, in one week, what have I done? I had my pre-op check. I had a tendicitis operation, which was pretty hectic, to put it politely. I had the immediate recovery off that. I had, what was after that? And then following that, yes, my eldest daughter got a really high fever still going on. She's feeling a lot better, but she's definitely still not out of the woods yet. She's nowhere near out of the woods yet. My youngest daughter is continuing with her introductionary nursery procedure. I think that's the right word. Yeah, that would be right. Anyway, where they're doing it bit by bit, little by little, so as to acclimatize the child to the nursery situation. And then my wife has been working during all this, and then I've been trying to juggle my work, the kids, household chores as much as possible. So it's been a really interesting week since last Tuesday, and it feels like it's been a very long period of time, but which has gone very quickly, if that makes sense at all. um, yeah, it's really interesting to think just how much has happened, and this always happens. Um, Life will be mundane for days, weeks, months at a time, even, and then suddenly, pow, this will happen, and pow, that will happen, and boom, the next thing. um, but yeah, as long as, like I said, as long as there is nothing insanely difficult or life threatening happening, then there's not much to complain about, really. But it does feel like it's been a very tiring period of my life in this one week, if that makes sense. Um, but also, I just wanted to add that during this time, I've really sort of evaluated my own study habits. Sorry, I've really evaluated my study habits, and I've really come to the realization that I have actually been slacking off quite a lot, and I'm really trying to push myself with that. You know, get some sort of routine in. I think I've been just idling by using one specific method, and which is fine. It's just that it's fine. it's not going to get real results, etc. And then from realizing that to suddenly starting getting back into some textbooks, using a couple of different resources. Within a day or two, I really noticed a change in my clarity of thought when it came to, well, in this case, Japanese language. And it was sort of like I had given my brain a sort of jump start, sorry. Like obviously my brain knew what to do, what to say, what to read, what to write, but it had sort of been idling. Hmm. And then suddenly, after a couple of days of really putting my brain through the steps, news articles, maybe TV, podcasts, this, that, really keeping me busy. I noticed a difference then, and I really am trying to continue with this new, well, what would you say? This revival of successful study habits, which I've had in the past, and I'm just getting back onto it with them. So I just want to say that if you are in a slump, we've talked about this before, I'm sure you remember. But if you're in a bit of a slump, don't worry. Think, how can I get out of it? Which way is going to get me out of it? The easiest, the quickest, and which is going to be the most beneficial to get me out of this. So yeah, it happens to all of us. But when you get the chance to get out of the slump, make sure you do it.